Is the future slipping away while you're busy remembering the past? You can check out this article on GoRightNews.com. This is Go Right with Peter Boykin, the Constitutionalist for Liberty. And thank you for tuning in to this podcast. Remember, we fight for our right because it's time to go right. Is the future slipping away while you're busy remembering the past? This is the Perspective Monologue with Peter Boykin, the Constitutionalist for Liberty. To find out more about this full article, you can go to GoRightNews.com, PeterBoykin.com, and you can listen to the music at GoRightMusic.com. There's a reason people keep looking backwards. And it goes deeper than nostalgia or cultural trends. It is instinct. When the ground begins to shift beneath a nation, when uncertainty starts to replace stability, people naturally search for something familiar to hold on to. What many Americans are feeling right now is not just frustration with politics. It is a growing sense that the direction of the country, and even the world, is becoming harder to recognize and harder to trust. Across the country, that feeling shows up in different ways. It appears in everyday conversations, in the tone of headlines, and in the quiet acknowledgement that something feels off. People are not just debating policy anymore. They are questioning direction. They are asking whether the United States is still steering its own course, or reacting to forces that are already in motion, both globally and domestically. When you look at the broader picture, that concern becomes easier to understand. Around the world, instability is increasing. Conflicts that once felt distant now feel closer, more immediate, and more consequential. Strategic decisions are being made at levels most Americans will never directly see. Yet those decisions carry real implications for national security, economic stability, and the future of American leadership on the global stage. This is not abstract. It is real. And people can feel it. At the same time, the United States is facing internal challenges that go to the core of its identity as a constitutional republic. The debate is no longer limited to differences in policy or political preference. It is centered on the scope of power itself. Questions about executive authority, legal interpretation, and institutional limits are becoming more frequent and more intense. These are not minor disagreements. They are tests of how firmly the system holds when it is placed under pressure. History provides a clear warning about moments like this. Power does not usually present itself as permanent when it expands. It arrives under the justification of necessity. It is framed as temporary, as a response to urgent circumstances, as a means of protection. Over time, however, those temporary measures can become normalized. The boundaries that once defined limits begin to shift, often gradually and without immediate recognition. This is why the Constitution matters. Not as a symbolistic document, but as a functional safeguard. It was designed to establish limits, to prevent the concentration of power, and to protect individual liberty even during times of uncertainty. Its strength lies in its consistency. It does not change based on the moment, and it is not meant to bend under pressure. However, it relies on the willingness of the people and their leaders to uphold it especially when doing so is difficult. While these structural challenges unfold, a cultural response is taking shape. More Americans are looking to the past with a sense of longing. They remember a time that felt more stable, less divided, and more predictable. Whether that perception is entirely accurate is not the central issue. What matters is why that feeling exists. People do not look backwards without reason. They do it when the present feels uncertain and the future feels unclear. The reality, however, is that the past cannot be restored. Conditions have changed. The pace of information, the scale of global interaction, and the intensity of political and cultural division have all accelerated. The question is not whether the country can return to what it once was. The question is whether it can move forward while preserving the principles that defined it. That brings us to the moment we are at now. Nations are not defined during times of comfort. They are defined during times of pressure. When decisions carry weight and consequences extend beyond the immediate, this is one of those moments. The convergence of global instability, internal debate over power, and a widespread uncertainty about the future creates a test of both leadership and public awareness. The central question is not whether previous years felt better. The central question is whether the nation is prepared to meet the challenges ahead without compromising the foundations that sustain it. Are Americans willing to remain engaged, to recognize when constitutional limits are tested, and to defend them when necessary? Are they prepared to confront uncertainty directly rather than retreat into nostalgia? The future is not something that arrives gradually without notice. It is shaped by the decisions made in moments like this. It is shaped by what is defended, what is allowed, and what is ignored. If those decisions are made without awareness, or without complement to principle, or commitment to principle, the consequences will not be temporary. A constitutional republic depends on more than structure. It depends on participation, vigilance, and a clear understanding of what it is at stake. If those elements weaken, the system itself becomes vulnerable, not through sudden collapse, but through gradual erosion. The past may feel comforting, but it does not determine what comes next. The future will be shaped by what is recognized and defended today. The question is whether the country is prepared to meet that responsibility with clarity, strength, and a firm commitment to liberty. This is Peter Boykin, the Constitutionalist for Liberty. For more, go to GoRightNews.com, PeterBoykin.com, and the music we're about to play, you can go to GoRightMusic.com for more information. God bless.
Something feels different right now, and you know it. The world feels louder, the stakes feel higher, and everything is moving faster than you can process. Scroll your phone, war, power, control. Every headline screaming for your attention, but none of them asking the real question. Why does everything feel like it's accelerating while people are looking backward? Because when the ground starts shifting, people reach for something stable. And right now, America feels that shift. This isn't just politics anymore. It's direction. It's pressure building, both outside the country and inside the system itself. Global tension rising, decisions being made at levels you don't see, but you will feel. And here at home, we're not just debating policy, we're redefining power, stretching it, testing it, expanding it. And power doesn't announce itself as permanent. It shows up as necessary. It shows up as temporary. It shows up as protection. Until one day, you realize the line has moved. That's why the Constitution matters, not as a symbol, as a limit, a line that says this far and no further. Because freedom doesn't disappear all at once. It erodes, quietly, gradually, conveniently. And while all of this is happening, people are looking back to a time that felt stable, to a time that felt predictable, to a time that made sense. But the past isn't coming back. Isn't waiting for you to catch up. So the question isn't, was it better before? The question is, are you ready now? Ready for a world that's less stable? Ready for a system under pressure? Because what happens next depends on what people are willing to see and what they're willing to defend. This is Peter Boykin, the Constitutionalist for Liberty. GoWriteNews.com. Boykin.com. GoWriteMusic.com. Something shifting in the air tonight. Feels like we're running out of time. Voices echo from another life, telling us it'll be alright. But it don't feel the same. Headlines screaming from a glowing screen. Truth gets buried in between. Every answer's dressed in certainty, but nothing's ever what it seems. We keep scrolling past the signs while the lines get redefined. What we thought would never change slips away right out of frame. You can feel it getting closer now, like a storm you can't outrun. Everyone's just looking back, like the damage has been done. While you're looking back, the future's moving fast. You can't hold the line if you're living in the past. Every step we take, every choice we make is a piece of something we might never get back. While you're looking back, power rising dressed as sympathy, wrapped in words of what we need. Little changes turn to history before you even see the bleed. We were told it's temporary, just a phase we'd outgrow. But the lines we used to stand on are the ones we barely know. You can hear it in the silence now, something breaking underneath. Every promise that we trusted hanging by a thread of belief. While you're looking back, the future's moving.